Today we have a special guest. He's a fruitarian. No, sorry, he's a raw vegan, which is a little bit different, probably kind of similar, but it's a raw vegan, and he's alive and he's thriving, and he's been a raw vegan for a long time. He's passionate about it. He coaches people, and sorry, someone is going. Apri. Sto lavorando. Sorry. Sorry, guys. There was someone knocking at the door. Free now. And so it should come soon. Should come in soon. But yeah, so honestly, I am very curious to listen to his story and how he organizes a raw vegan diet, because it definitely sounds like something that is super healthy. There you go, we got Shane Sterling. It's coming in. Here we are. How you doing, Shane?
Hello, Stefano, my man. Thanks for having me on.
Of course, man. And I hope, can you hear me well?
Yes,
All good?
I can.
Fantastic. So, very interesting, man, that you are so passionate about raw veganism, and has some interesting question to make you to kind of not maybe going too deep into it, because I know you're super passionate and you probably know so many things, but having some basic view about raw veganism. I don't know if kind of the same thing of being a fruitarian, and curious about knowing your experience. But first, just tell us, who is Shane today? Little introduction.
Okay, excellent. Yeah, I'm really I'm a coach and I'm a thought leader and I help people become empowered in their life. And that's the most important thing is empowerment. Let's see, I hear an echo. I'm gonna turn this down a little bit.
It's
Okay, do
good
you
on
hear
my
an
side,
echo?
I think. No,
Oh good. I should have earbuds on probably, but I don't have my earbuds.
I think it's cool.
Yeah, it's good. Sounds good. Okay. I just want to make sure because I'm hearing an echo on your end. Okay. So, empowerment is my goal. I help people become empowered. We have to eat in a way that empowers our body and our mind and our soul and our spirituality. So, the more we invest in whole raw foods, the more our body is purified and cleansed, which gives us clarity of mind and clarity of spirit. And this really helps us find our path to empowerment. So that's really what I help people with, is that level of empowerment.
Sounds good. Sounds good, lovely. And I definitely think also, Mike, committing to. Do you still hear the echo now?
Let's see. Test. No, I don't.
No? Is it better?
Yeah, that's better. Perfect.
Sounds good. So it was me. Yeah, and I think that committing to any changes can help an individual just become more disciplined as well,
Yeah.
right? So yeah. So here's the thing. I think that most people, and I mean, I think it's pretty clear that sometimes the same diet that you promote and use to thrive, because I've seen you, you also, you look fit as well. You're obviously doing some training, right? So you're thriving and you help people thrive. But at the same time, there's so many people that get into veganism and they randomly approach probably raw vegan, and they start feeling very tired. And this is something that I have experienced too at the beginning. I started to eliminate starches, and I only wanted to eat vegetables and fruit. But I was a very active individual. So I know what I was doing wrong now, but I want to hear from you. What are the first tips that you give in order not to fail in a raw vegan diet?
It's a great question. This is what I help people with. every single day, I help people understand how to approach a raw vegan diet so they don't fail. So what is it that we need to do? We need to make sure that we're getting adequate calories, adequate protein, carbs, and fats. Our macro balance has to be correct. So that means, look, we can get proteins and carbs and fats from raw foods, but we have to make sure we know what we're doing to get that adequate balance, right? So the other critical component that most people overlook is detoxification. Like, our body accumulates waste and acids, and when we start eating food, raw food, those acids come out our body, makes us feel sick, makes us feel tired, makes us look bad, makes us feel like we're getting a cold or a flu, and we get dark circles under our eyes. But this is just a temporary step. So we have to make it through detox, and we have to make sure we're getting adequate calories, proteins, carbs, and fats. If we do that, then we're going to make it through to the next level. And you know what the next level is? Purification of our body, purification of our bowels and our blood and our lymph. And when we purify our bowels and our blood and our lymph, our body works better. So if we want to train, if we want to be muscular, if we want to be fit, if we want to be active, we actually need more raw food, because that's what our body's designed for. Actually, all food is raw before we cook it, so cooking it actually denatures it and takes away a lot of the key nutrients that our body truly needs. And so it's only when we stop having an overly cooked diet that we can even achieve true potential in our athletic ability or in our fitness or in our health. You know, I'm 50 years old now. I've been vegan most of my life. I've been on my vegan journey since I was 17. So 34 years I've been trying to master a vegan diet. Okay. I love being vegan. Vegan is primarily the most important thing to me. So how do we stay vegan long term? Well, it's not by eating junk food. It's not by eating too much cooked food. It's not by eating Impossible burgers. It's by eating the whole food as it comes from Mother Nature in its whole food form. And that's raw fruits, vegetables, and nuts and seeds. And the reason people are feeling tired is not because the food is deficient. Raw food is not deficient in what our body needs, obviously. Every living creature on planet Earth eats only raw food.
That's right.
So what makes us tired is that our bowels are sluggish and filled with waste. Our lymphatic system is sluggish and filled with waste. And we have an overaccumulation of toxins in the body. We got to purify that out. And then that's going to be a process. It makes us feel tired at first, but it's only temporary. And if we can make it to the other side, miraculous things happen. You know what happens? It starts to clear our awareness, our energetics, our clarity, mental clarity, emotional clarity, spiritual clarity, but it also clears our skin and our kind of vibrancy, and our vibrancy is like a youthful energy, a pep in our step. But also the way we look, our skin, our eyes, the quality of our hair and nails, all of that clears up. So raw food actually gives us an amazing, rejuvenated, youthful appearance once we make it through that detox transition. Now, I will say my detox transition took me 2 years. So I felt like I was still struggling to enjoy raw food for 2 solid years. I had weak digestion. I would feel tired and weak. I actually lost weight. I became skinnier than I wanted to be. But through my dedication, I made it through 2 years with trusting and saying, no, I want to be fully raw vegan. And so I went through that process regardless of the consequences. I said, whatever happens, God, I'm going to go through this. And I handed it over.
I did something similar as well when I went vegan, and I was through that period of being tired. I went through the same mental process. But would you say that that there was just a transaction that you had to go to, or there was something that you were doing wrong?
No, it's not anything wrong. Yeah, you're not doing it wrong with the food. The food is not deficient. The food is not the problem. Our body is the problem, and so we just have to make it through. If you just ate raw food today, starting today, raw fruits and vegetables, nuts and seeds, you made smoothies, you made salads, you ate fruit, you made juices. If you just had that what's going to happen is you're going to go through a dark night of the soul transition. You're going to go through a major detox. Your body is going to shed waste. It's going to shed burdens. It's going to shed psychological traumas and patterns. You're going to go through a breakdown of who you thought you were. And you're going to basically lose everything in that process. You're going to lose a lot of what you've been holding on to, the constructs, the stories, the belief systems about life, your place in the world, who you are, what you think is real. That's what happens. Raw food strips us down and rebuilds us up. So for me, after 2 years raw vegan, I actually started to put weight back on naturally. And that's when I started to go back to the gym and do training and get myself really in shape. And over the course of 3 years, fully raw vegan, after I did a 40-day juice fast too, I cleaned out my gut really thoroughly. So after I started to feel good on raw food, going back to the gym in 3 years, I put on a lot of muscle. You know, my muscle mass got really strong. I actually had better recovery, better muscle growth than ever before in my life. You know, now at 50, I'm about 200 pounds, pretty lean. You know, I've got really good muscle mass. I'm fit. I'm strong. I have endurance. I have energy.
I liked one of your last reels where you say that if you want to look like someone that eats a lot of protein, work out, get stronger, right? Yeah. And I absolutely agree with you. And that's what I'm navigating lately. And that's why I'm so interested about talking with you who is striving on a lower protein diet, because I do think that all of these madness and obsession over protein is just something that happened because of marketing, because people were very attached to animal products, and therefore the fitness industry moved towards eat a lot of meat. But the reality is, it doesn't seem that what's important is how much protein do you eat. It might, there is these studies that give you, okay, there is an increase in protein synthesis by eating more protein, but at the end of the day, that's not what's going to make you build muscle. That's just the process of building muscle, right? What's really stimulate the muscle to grow is training, the kind of training that you're doing. So, and I don't think at the end of the day, eating more or less protein over a period of time of 5-10 years is going to make a huge difference in the amount of muscle that you build.
Yeah.
Probably there's going to be no difference, because anyway, we do have a genetic potential that's limited when it comes to building muscle. So yeah, you are proving it. You've been training. The question is, before you said it's important to get enough fats and carbs and protein as well. So what are the most important things to consider when you're choosing raw food?
I think making sure we're getting adequate calories is priority number one.
Absolutely.
People will undereat when they turn to raw food. Say you wanted to go fully raw vegan today, you're going to eat fruits and salads, and you're going to be full, and it's going to be a weird feeling, and then you're going to undereat. So we got to track it. Anybody who's into fitness knows that you got to track your calories and you got to track your macros to make sure you're on track. If you realize how much raw food you actually do need to eat, then it's going to ensure that you don't do it wrong. So you got to make sure you're getting the adequate calories. And then primarily carbohydrates, because carbohydrates fuel our muscles for working out. If we're going to be strong with our training, we got to make sure we're getting adequate carbohydrates. So I focus on whole raw fruit for my carbohydrates specifically. I don't eat starches at all. So the simple carbohydrate.
No potatoes?
No.
All right.
No. Yep, no potatoes. Now, potatoes are comforting and satiating and delicious, and we're all used to eating them, but it's a complex starch which the body has to break down to get to the simple carbohydrate. So if you just give your body simple carbohydrate, you're not asking your body to do as much work. So our body will have better health and better longevity if it just works less. It's like any machine. If you overwork your machine, you'll age quicker. So we have to strike a balance in fitness between having good muscle mass, eating for muscle mass, but also longevity, health, youthfulness, and vibrancy.
Yes.
You know, if we overtrain or we overeat, we actually lose health. So we actually have to find that perfect balance of training correctly for optimal vitality, youthfulness, and aesthetics, but not burdening our body at all, as little as possible. And that's where raw food really can play a huge part. Because if you eat simple carbohydrates, you're not asking your body to digest more than necessary. And as a vegan, a lot of vegans will overeat starches. And instead of eating meat, they're trying to find satiation in starch. When starch, again, is going to burden the digestive system, be very slow digesting, which makes your bowels sluggish. And then also your body has to break down those complex starch structures into simple carbohydrates. Your body just wants simple carbohydrate from the beginning. So if you experiment with yourself and you do only fruit for carbohydrate, you're going to have more energy, better recovery.
I can say that I've experienced that as well, because lately something that I do is eating a lot more fruit, and definitely gives you more energy during the day, rather, especially when I'm dieting and I'm eating less calories. If I focus on eating a lot of fruit, I feel much better. I feel much fuller as well, just because I'm getting most of my calories from fruit. So that's I can confirm that.
Yeah, that's great. I'm glad to hear that. Yeah, and one of the great side benefits of eating a lot of fruit is youthful anti-aging benefits. Okay, because fruit is cleansing to the bowels, the blood, and the lymph. The blood brings nutrition to the cells and the muscles. The lymphatic system removes the waste that our body burns for energy. And if the body is not eliminating that waste properly, it creates that aged look. We can see it in the skin, the wrinkles, just like an overall kind of aged look. So by eating fruit, it cleans the blood and the bowels and the lymph, and that will reduce the way we look. So me as a raw vegan, I swear to God, I look 20 years younger than I did years ago when I was eating cooked vegan. I look younger now as a raw vegan than I did as a cooked vegan.
About that, since we are here, I wanted to ask you something. Like, before starting this super healthy approach to diet, like, have you been unhealthy in the past, or you just always been very health conscious and just improved over time?
I have fallen off my health journey like most of us do, and I've had to recommit to being healthy like most of us do. I've gone through phases of experimenting with fitness. I actually did about 5 years of eating high animal protein, trying to build muscle, and it just made me ill. It just made me sick. It actually created skin inflammation. And I had to actually detox my body for a couple of years to get the inflammation down that the animal products were causing. So I have experimented, and I've done it wrong. And I've continually recommitted to doing a vegan diet at the highest level possible. So I want to be vegan, and I want to be vegan for life. And I want to be an example of a vegan who's really thriving, not just in the short term, not just like for, in my 30s, like, I look good in my 30s, but how am I going to look in my 40s and 50s and 60s and beyond?
Absolutely. I mean, like, you got people in the comments that said that you look so much younger than 50, and you definitely do. And the curious question is, because I had a client in the past that he was a fruitarian, and he told me that he was feeling very good being a fruitarian. He has been a fruitarian for, like, I think a couple of years. But he told me, though, that when he was eating something different, like, his body was reacting very bad, right? So it's like, and so the question is, so you do have to be very strict when you get to the point that you cleanse your body and you're so pure, right? So I'm going to have to say no to my pizza if I go. Yeah. You know, I can never have a pizza. Otherwise, I'm going to shit. I don't know. I'll be shitting all day or something like that.
Well,
something like that's going to happen.
Yeah, that is an actual beautiful byproduct. You have to understand, by the time you get your body purified, where it's reacting negatively to vegan pizza, you will have years of detoxification under your belt, and you will feel the amazing benefits. You're not going to want the pizza at that point. So you're not going to have to give up something you really love. It's not ever, this is what I tell my clients. You don't have to give up foods you love. Instead, focus on purification of your body. Focus on cleansing your bowels, because the bowels are where we absorb nutrition and where we eliminate waste. If you want to build muscle better and look younger, it's through the bowels that we do that. That's how the nutrition gets into the cells. That's where our muscles get the fuel to grow. It's through the bowels. So if you focus on bowel detoxification and cleansing, it's going to naturally lead you down a path where you will realize, wait, I've just invested years in detoxing my bowels. This vegan pizza is going to be like putting glue in my clean vessel. You're not going to be as quick to want to do that, and it's not going to appeal to you in the same way. What we consume consistently most of the time is what our body will crave. So if we're having coffee and vegan pizza and potatoes every day, that's what we're going to feel normal eating. It's going to feel good to eat that. It will keep us in a homeostasis, and it will keep our body at that level of health and vitality. But when we break free from that and we cleanse our body, having coffee feels terrible. It will actually feel like a toxin and a poison in your body. And the same goes for vegan pizza. And I don't want to poo-poo where people are at. Because look, we are all at the step we're at. And if somebody's attempting to be vegan, that's amazing. That's really good. But there's definitely levels of health that we can feel in our body. And I think health feels better than any vegan pizza feels, you know? So
yeah, it does make sense. And I think it's good to promote to people the healthiest possible as well, because some people perhaps are in very bad health situations and caused from their habits. So like, for example, I would say that someone, they want to completely change their life, then they should go all in and try properly a raw vegan diet, because that's the thing. You got so many people that they do want to improve their health. They go vegan and they approach raw veganism because it is appealing, right? I mean, thinking that you're only going to eat vegetables and fruit, it just makes sense that's going to be super healthy. But then what happens? They make mistake, and they cause the opposite reaction actually, and they give up on veganism, which is sad.
Yeah, actually, I just talked to a client today who is really committed to being vegan. He wants to be vegan, but he said when he tried to go raw vegan, thinking it would help him be healthier, it actually made him give up on being vegan. And he went back to eating animal products, even though he didn't want to, because the raw food was so different. It was such a shift in his body that it was uncomfortable. He got freaked out by it and gave up on veganism in general. Now that's the real risk. We don't want to give up on being vegan. We want to slowly approach detoxification in our lifestyle. That's the way we've got to do it. If we go too quick, too fast, we're going to just make ourselves feel the stress of it and the struggle. So it's better to start juicing, having fresh juices every day. Eventually maybe do a juice fast. Maybe you take, a week where you just have fresh juices. That's really cleansing for the bowels and for the lymphatic system. And then you can extend that. I recommend everybody do a 40-day juice fast at some point on their journey to become a raw vegan, 40 days on only fresh homemade juices. And that really cleans the body out, gives you kind of a head start from there. So
interesting.
Also, somebody asked here in the comments I saw, what about alcohol? And for me, I've been raw vegan for 6 years. So my body is so cleansed and purified at this point. If I have even a little bit of alcohol, like if I go out with friends and I think, oh, let me just have a sip of wine or beer, I feel it in my body for a week. And that those people who are drinking alcohol recreationally, it maybe enjoy the buzz of alcohol socially, but for me, that feels like poison in my body that takes me a week for it to get out of my system. That's not fun, and that doesn't feel good. So yes, like you were saying before, there's a point where we reach a level of purification in our body where we have to be careful then of participating with normal food and normal drink that our society deems normal, because we're at a different level. So
Yeah.
what I would say though to that is it's so much better at this level where alcohol feels toxic. That's a way cooler place to be. It feels better. It also makes me more, I would say, effective in my work and in my life. I just am more willing to meet the universe and challenges and communicate and just be at the highest level of my own potential.
Absolutely. And I think that's another journey of itself to discover yourself and the world, like being sober. I've been sober for 8 months. I fucked up in the last weekend actually, but I've been sober for 8 months. And you learn more about yourself. You go out and you actually enjoy what you really enjoy. And if you don't enjoy the time, you leave. You're not drinking so you can stay, which is what people do, right? So I think that's also a positive journey to have in life. But I want to go back to the protein because everyone wants to know about protein, right? And you said it's important to get protein. So what's the idea about protein that you have with the raw vegan diet? Do you have a target? Do you have some food specifically that increases the protein intake?
Yeah, so most people want protein because they think it's going to build muscle. They think if I eat protein, I'm going to look like that fitness influencer over there who I think looks really muscular, right? But so that's not true. Eating protein does not automatically build muscle under any circumstance. We have to stimulate the muscle to have muscle through exercise. So why are we eating protein then in the first place? It's a macronutrient. It comes in all food. Every single food has protein. And so just eating a good balance of healthy, raw vegan foods will give you a healthy balance of raw protein sources. The best sources of protein are greens and nuts and seeds. So eating a salad with sprouts and nuts and seeds on it has all the protein that we would need. As a raw vegan of many years, I probably get, depending on the day, maybe 70 to 100 grams of protein per day, which is completely adequate for an adult male focused on fitness and health, athleticism, energy, and youthfulness. That's completely adequate. And the fitness recommendations of protein are extremely exaggerated and to even an unhealthy level. So unfortunately, in our society today, we have a distorted idea of how much protein we need. And so it's the first step is kind of dropping the BS narrative we've been fed that we need 0.8 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight. That's too much protein. And if we eat that much protein, we're going to end up probably with acidosis symptoms.
Oh, wow. That 2 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight is pumped from bro science, literally. Because even those studies show that there is not even that much of increase in the protein synthesis.
No.
There is nothing. But 100 grams sounds good. I thought you might were getting less than that. It doesn't even sound that low, really.
Yeah, it's not that low.
Someone asking
I focus on protein-rich sources of foods, though. I do. As a raw vegan, I'm not a fruitarian, so I don't eat fruit all day. I love fruit, and I eat a lot of fruit, but I focus on protein-rich sources of foods, like sprouts. I eat sprouted lentils, sprouted legumes every day. I eat a lot of greens, a lot of protein-rich greens specifically. I eat a lot of flax.
So you do eat legumes. Legumes is included.
Sprouted legumes only.
Sprouted legumes. Okay, cool.
I do not eat cooked legumes because for me, cooking the legumes takes the vitality out of it. I don't like eating the big sloppy, bowl of legumes cooked. It just doesn't feel good. But sprouted lentils is a magnificent food, very high in protein.
Interesting.
A good ratio of carbohydrate to protein, and it's amazing raw. Sprouted lentils are one of my all-time favorite foods, and I eat them pretty much every day. and they have a zesty, fresh crunch to them that is so enjoyable. Once you get used to it, it's addictive, and you can get 35 grams of protein in just a couple cups of sprouted lentils a day. Just that alone gives you like half your day's protein needs.
Definitely, definitely. And someone asked in the comment if you take some supplements.
No, it's not necessary. So supplements are a complex discussion because we have to first address absorption. Are we absorbing properly? So if someone has recently gone vegan and they come from a SAD diet, like a standard American, standard westernized diet, their absorption will not be adequate. Their gut health will not be adequate. So you might need to supplement a B12 or iodine, but those are really the only two. I don't recommend any other supplements. Everything else you can get from food or the sun, but really we want to make sure that we are absorbing properly. So again, gut detoxification is critical. We need to focus on gut health, and building gut health takes time. It takes a couple years. So until you have good gut health, you might want to take a B12 supplement. But for me, at this point, I don't need supplements. I take supplements here and there because I think it maybe is good measure. The only two supplements I take would be iodine, because it's deficient in the soils. Okay, it's harder to get iodine if you're not eating processed foods or fortified foods. And then also B12. Now, I went 16 years of my life without ever taking B12 at all and never had a problem. I don't think I need it. My body is very adapted to the natural bacteria in the foods I eat, all raw. I'm always getting bacteria in the food I eat, on the foods from organic produce. But once in a while, I will have a little bit of liquid B12, but more for good measure. I don't ever actually do a blood test and see what my B12 levels are. I just literally don't ever do that.
Why?
Besides,
that would be interesting to actually show on paper that everything it's good.
Yeah, people ask that of me. People want to see blood tests from me, but you know, I did a blood test for a life insurance policy years ago for my children, and I had been raw vegan at that point for a while, a couple of years, I think, and my blood test was perfect. They said my blood was like that of a 20-year-old, you know, and I was in my late 40s at that point. So it's not something I focus on, but nonetheless, I feel good. And that's one of the key indicators, is that you're thriving year after year. Your body's working good. You look good. You feel good. That's a good indicator you're healthy, you know?
I mean, if he's working, don't fix it. That's always good.
Exactly.
So I don't want to keep this too long. So I have the two last questions. So what's your favorite raw vegan dish?
My favorite raw vegan dish. Well, I make a hemp seed milk with dates and cacao. So I blend up hemp seeds into a nice milk, and then I'll add cacao and dates and make like a cacao milk with hemp seeds. I mean, that's literally one of my favorite all-time foods.
Sounds good.
You get a little buzz from the cacao. It's like the theobromine, dilates your blood vessels. Really good for pre or post-workout, and it's very high in protein. It's absolutely delicious. It's actually Ayurvedic too. It goes back thousands of years. That is just a wonderful thing to try for anyone, whether you are vegan or not. It's just delicious. But really, what I love most on a daily basis is my salads. I make a salad for dinner every day with sprouted lentils and nuts and seeds and the greens, and I make delicious dressings. I look forward to it every day. It's one of the highlights of my day. If I skip my dinner salad one day, I always feel it. I miss it. It gives me vitality, gives me nutrition. And the way the food makes me feel is why it's my favorite. Not because of an addictive feeling, like a comfort food feeling. It's more of like I get energy from that, and I feel it the next day. Like I wake up feeling good if I go to bed with a big raw salad, and that is what makes me kind of like that food the most. So my favorite food is based on how I feel mostly.
Sounds good. Yes, food is fuel. I tell that to my audience and clients all the time. Like if you're overlooking for recipes in order to improve your health or reach your fitness goals, you're doing it wrong. Like food is fuel first.
Yes.
And I think I think, eating fruit and vegetables is actually more tasty in its natural form compared to, animal products, like meat, raw meat. Well, I don't know, it's disgusting, I would say.
Yeah.
It's definitely disgusting. So, and the last question is what are, the 3 tips that you would give to a beginner that wants to explore a raw vegan diet? And what's your material? What's material that people can go to and download and watch first?
Yeah, I have all of my tips, everything that I recommend in a free video course called How to Go Raw Vegan Start Here. If you go to my Instagram bio, there is a link there, and right at the top of the link is my free video course, How to Go Raw Vegan Start Here. So that covers all of my tips. I actually have 6 videos in that course, and it covers how to get protein, how to do a juice fast and cleanse the bowels, and how to rebuild the health of your gut microbiome to thrive on raw foods. And that's really my tip, is to, for one, be willing to go through your detox journey, because you're going to have some detox. Cleanse your bowels properly, rebuild your gut microbiome to thrive on raw foods. And I outline every single step somebody needs to know about in my free video course. I also have an amazing membership community for people who want to have support and a community of other raw vegans. It's called Raw Vegan Heroes. We have about 2,500 members in the community right now. It's a really amazing group of people from all over the world. And we come together to support each other, and people share their recipes, meal ideas, shopping trips, so we can see in real time what other successful raw vegans are doing, and we get that feedback from others. And that's really invaluable. So I always recommend have accountability in your life. If you're going to try a raw vegan diet, you need accountability. And that's what my membership, Raw Vegan Heroes, is for accountability. And the link to that is also in my Instagram bio. So I would recommend people do that. Also, trying a raw vegan diet is different than actually experiencing the benefits. And if you just try to eat raw, you might actually not feel good right away. It takes a little bit more dedication than that. But if you can go through the detox and break through to the next level, it'll be the best feeling lifestyle and diet that you can have access to, because we are biologically designed to thrive on raw food. All food in nature is raw. All animals on earth eat raw food. There's no
Definitely.
circumstance where cooked food provides more health and vitality to our biology. So when we align with that simple truth, we get the amazing rewards. And the rewards are there for those who have the courage and the discipline and the mindset to give themselves that incredible gift. And it is incredible. Raw food plus exercise is the highest level of vitality we can achieve in this lifetime.
Amazing. Thanks, Shane, for coming live and give us your experience or information about the raw vegan diet.
Yeah.
And
thank you.
That's it. We're done for today. We'll stay in touch and have a good one.
All right. Thanks, Stefano. Thanks for having me on. Bye, everybody.
Bye, Shane. All right. That was